Hi, this is Janetta. Ooh-wee. Yeah. Well, you know what? There's something I want to talk to you about. It's a secret, but don't let anybody else know about it because it's something that you need to know and I need to know in order to play the game of superpower. Yes, superpower. It's a game that we're going to play against imperialism. Yeah. Well, you might have thought you weren't in the game, but you are very much in the game. But you don't know some of the rules. And we're going to discuss the rules today, explain a little bit to you. So keep on watching. Just keep watching. But before, I want to explain this. In 1974, during the time of President Richard Nixon, a man by the name of Henry Kissinger, he was working as President Nixon's national security person. He was with the NSA. Well, I don't know whether he was having a nightmare or he just came up with this. But he decided, I don't know if he was a creator, but he was a promoter. He decided that the world population was just too much and that the world would run out of resources, or at least they run out of resources for America because of the world growing so fast, the population being in the billions. And he wanted to reduce the population significantly. So to find out methods, he planned on methods that can be used. And one of the big methods was birth control. Yeah, family planning, birth control, to keep reduction of the population. And especially the African population. In the memo, it pinpoints that about the African population. And the other way that he said would help reduce population would be wars and also famine. Can you imagine that they would plan wars to help reduce the population? Well, how would they go about developing plans for war? Okay.
Okay, Coco, sorry. Before you continue about the war, I want to understand and to know why they mainly target Africa to reduce population. What their main purpose, or what they gain or they get about reducing the population of Africa.
Well, you know, I'm glad you asked me that question because I want them to know the reason why is because of Africa's wealth. You know, if you have more people, then you will need your wealth yourself more so. You have more of a need for it. And then having more people is actually wealth within itself. So it threatens their imperialism. It threatens what they might be able to do. And they felt it would be a threat to their economy. So that's why, but they also mentioned about Latin America and they mentioned about Asia as well, but not so much as mentioning about the population of Africa. One of the nice things about it, young man, I don't know if you know, but Africa has the most double births in the world, the continent of Africa. So we're not only having one child at a time, we're having two children at a time. So therefore our population is booming regardless of all the things that happen. But this is proposed as a threat to the imperial powers. It's supposed as a threat, at least they felt as a threat. And the other part of the game is this, wars, okay? Wars are one of the things wars are one of the things that they really have. And when we think about terrorism and all those things and people dying and wars in Ethiopia, Sudan, now war, how many people are getting killed, this, that, that's all a part of the plan. It's actually part of the plan. Okay, now for us to kill each other, it's not part of the plan for them to come in and kill us, but they're not doing anything. They're helping. Well, anyway, then the next thing, are famine, and you say to me, well, how are they going to do about famine? I mean, that means people starving to death. Well, if you look at famine, you would see that famine is caused because of the lack of food. And we have all this arable land, plenty of rivers and oceans and lakes. And why would there be a famine? Well, famine comes along because a lot of times our farming techniques are not that good. We don't have warehouses and storage houses of food. We're not manufacturing. We're not storing any grain. We're not doing all those things. We're growing things, using them, growing things and using them. So when a tragedy comes up, then we experience food shortages. You see? And so that's what happens. And there's nothing that we have that helps to irrigate the land. Not very many of the countries have a real good irrigation plan. Any of that. So because we've been limited, and only thing that has been done basically in Africa by the United States and by the EU is to get our raw materials at a low price. And therefore we cannot afford to buy what we need. So this is a plan, but we didn't know we were playing this game. This whole NSSM 200 was done in 1974, and it was kept as a secret. It was a secret document, and it was not revealed really basically until the 1990s. Now it's public, but it's still a secret for people that don't really know, and most Africans don't know this. We don't understand that we're in kind of a game, and it is a game, but we don't know some of the rules. And some of the rules have been set up in policies that have been developed by America against us in Africa. And these policies are used to help keep us impoverished and poor, because we're a threat to them.
Sorry to ask. So you say that it is a long-term impact?
It's a long-term impact, and it's a long-term plan. But right now, things are being revved up to go faster because there's some of the things, the Bible says, whatever you fear the most has come upon you. And this is what's happening right now with Europe, the West, United States. Changes are being made rapidly here in Africa. And so the thing that they said about overpopulation being a challenge to them, too many Africans, and then also the fact that we would start wanting to use and have access to our own resources, then that means that our resources won't be as available to them as it has been. So that's a danger for them. So that's why people like, that young man, those young people in Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, that have decided that they want to no longer deal with the West in raw materials or anybody else. They're going to take the gold and the silver and the diamonds and the uranium, and they're going to not send them as raw materials, but processed materials. So that will raise the price. So Europe and the United States will not, or no one will be able to get the raw materials from that area cheaply. That's a danger. So they don't want that. And so they're going to try to do everything they can to stop that. You know what I said about war? Yeah, okay. That's a possibility. Birth control, I think they've almost given up on Africa because you all love babies. So, but what I want you to do is I want you to hear it from their own voice. I want you to hear what they say about the NSSM 200, which is an American policy. The greatest fear is that those in the diaspora, the brain drain, the people that they've been wooing to go live in the United States and to leave Africa because they need their intelligence. Well, that's the same thing they did during the time of slavery. They came over here and got our best. They came over here and got our creators. They didn't come over here and just get a lot of people. They were intent on the people that they took into the Americas throughout the world, wherever they took people for slavery, and even in Europe. Okay, so that is that is the game we're playing. So you young people need to know the game you're playing, and it's important. Your education is important. You know, the details is important. It's important, but I want you to listen to what's being said. Okay, so just listen right now.
We see Africa as a threat because in 30 to 40 years, the average African will be 31 years old. The average European will be 52 years old. The average American will be 45 years old. And so what we have here is a very young and vigorous continent with lots of natural resources, and the United States sees this as a direct and proximate threat to our world domination in the future.
Now that you've heard what they said, but they have the population figures all wrong. Hey, baby, because right now, the United States is 45 years old, and it would be older than that if it wasn't for some of us other mixtures of people there that are still having babies. But actually, the population of Africa, the youth population, is right about 18 years old. And the American population is 45, and Europe is 45, and I don't know what. Yes, even Asia, China's population is about 28 years old, and they're trying to have some babies. Hey, we are on target, but let me tell you about the breakthrough. Now, I told you this is a game, right? I told you it's a game. It is a game of life. Yeah. And we got some big players, but some in specifically, if you've never heard of the AES, that's an alliance of 3 countries, Mali, Burkina Faso, and also Niger, not Nigeria, Niger, okay? They have broken away from the pact, and they have gotten together, united, and the power is on. Just what America and the West has feared the most is now coming upon them. So I want you to listen. I want you to listen to what is happening in Burkina Faso. It's going to give you just a little bit. So you need to follow them online and really get the real good lowdown, because, hey, just call them giant killers. Yeah, they have arisen. They're arising. Africa is rising. Catch the dream. All right, listen. Ooh.
Welcome, fellow Pan-Africanists and supporters of African-led development. Today, we're diving into an extraordinary story for how Burkina Faso's citizens have raised a staggering $220 million for President Ibrahim Traoré's visionary development projects. Are you ready to witness the dawn of a new era in African finance? Picture this: a nation united, not by foreign aid or IMF loans, but by the collective will of its people. That's exactly what's happening in Burkina Faso right now.
Burkina Faso is about to surprise the world entirely. Burkina Faso is launching Burkina Sat 2. This is satellite.
Burkina Faso has just launched its first pharmaceutical production plant.
Can Burkina Faso teach Europe lessons about how to make progress without exploiting anyone? Burkina Faso, a small landlocked nation that most global powers barely acknowledged, is flipping the world order. It is becoming the world's next global superpower, replacing Europe. Under the leadership of Captain Ibrahim Traoré, Burkina Faso is emerging as an unstoppable force that even the mighty West cannot challenge. What's more shocking? This transformation is happening without the need for Western approval, aid, or intervention. The West, long accustomed to pulling the strings in Africa, is now left helplessly watching as Burkina Faso asserts control over its resources, builds its self-sustaining economy, and establishes an independent military that answers to no one but its people. But how has this small nation done what the West thought impossible? Let's find out.
Now, can you imagine? Just put in your imagination, close your eyes, and think about Goliath and David. You know, Goliath came out with a slingshot, and David had I'm sorry. David came out with a slingshot, and Goliath had a sword. Plus, he was 10 times bigger than David. Boy, and his armies, David's armies, was in the back hiding out, and poor David was out there all by himself, but he made a stand. This is an example of what's going on right now in Burkina Faso, Mali, and also Niger. They are making a stand. Are you ready? The game is on. Hey, get in the game. It's fantastic. Follow it and make sure you share. Share this video. Let other people hear what's going on, what the United States has done or the West has done to try to keep Africa from rising. But hey, it might have lasted for a few hundred years. But hey, we're on the upswing now. We're about ready to blow it all out. Oh, yeah. Hey, make sure you like this video, share it with everybody, and also comment. Please give me some comments on it. And thank you for supporting me. Thank you for watching, and thank you for sharing. I appreciate you so much. Those of you that have commented. All right, I'll talk to you later. Yeah, this is Janetta. Hey, watch it. BlackSRadio.com on Saturday. Check your web. All right. Talk to you later. Woo-hoo, yeah. Hey, this is Janetta, and you're watching Africa Speak.